Delighted to welcome to the studio Marcel Saarloos and also Thorsten back to the studio and Steve back to the studio. Gentlemen, thank you all so much for joining us here in the TAPA EMEA studio. Now, we've had lots of questions being submitted, so we'll try and get through as many of those as we can. And in fact, one question that we'd like to pick up on that was submitted just as we were ending our previous Q&A session, I'd like to just ask you that, Steve, to start with. Will TAPA EMEA be adopting the IT standards that TAPA Americas and Asia have?
Well, we'll certainly be looking at those. Let me just explain the background. So the IT security that you refer to is actually the cybersecurity standard that the Americas and, as I said, the Asia-Pac region have produced. If you go back to the earlier discussion on Change Control Board, each TAPA region has the ability and the authority to produce regional standards for its own unique needs. And we obviously collaborate on global standards. So in this particular example, the Americas and the Asia-Pac region have produced a cybersecurity standard, and cybersecurity is an important topic for us. We're not going to dispute that, but we were not involved in its finalization. So we will be approaching both Americas and the APAC region to see how we can collaborate on making it a truly global standard.
Steve, thank you. And Thorsten, we had a quick question as well on his presentation and introduction, which we've just been enjoying. So we saw that, in fact, one eagle-eyed delegate noticed that everything was in German, but presumably it adapts for all countries in EMEA.
Yes, we are in Germany. No, just kidding. So the point is that my computer setting is German. And I'm sorry, I realize it also. As soon as you put your computer setting to English, everything is English. When you do French, everything is French. And everything is, so it depends on which region you are coming from and which language you pick, because everything is linked to your language package. So absolutely, it won't be a German solution, it's an international solution, and it will be automatically adjusted. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry.
Fantastic. Well, let's get going with some of the other questions then. Thorsten, also, you talked about increasing TAPA EMEA's presence in regional markets. How are you going to achieve this?
Yeah, one of the big initiatives we are creating really also, and we are preparing with the team, is really to go again to the different countries, because it's very important, we are sitting here in Germany, but the Italian market is a completely different market, like the French market. So what we, with the kind support of all officers in the advisory board, did already, we have a specific budget for next year, to go to the countries, to give them the opportunity to organize, for example, an in-country conference or a special training, in their local language and so on. So it's really to underline and support again the special needs you have in a specific country.
Thank you, Thorsten. Marcel, I'm going to come to you now, but I just wanted to remind all the delegates watching, because we've not seen you today before, that you are the chair of TAPA EMEA. So,
proud to be so.
The focus in 2022 and beyond is to attract more manufacturer and logistics members. How can your existing members help with this?
Well, I think that coincide with what Thorsten just said. If we can achieve, let's say, a bigger footprint and a presence in the countries and more region but down to a bit level, that will already help. But obviously, it's our members already being an advocate, and I know most of them they're talking very positive. They share, let's say, experiences, and that comes up, and all the way to, let's say, the more formal side where companies have it actually embedded in their contracts, where they say, we need you to be TAPA certified because otherwise we cannot work with you. So it's a wide spectrum. You can go from just, let's say, the network talk to the formal end of it.
Thank you. Thorsten, let me come back to you. You talked a lot about data, but isn't it getting even more difficult to source cargo crime intelligence? Where does the current incident data originate from, and how are you working to get more?
Yeah, so it is a little bit more difficult, but due to our good and long-term relationship, especially with our members and with the law enforcement agencies, we always say everything is built on trust. And the good news is our solution is an in-house solution. And second is also quite important, we take care of your data in a way that you cannot see which company is behind it. So nobody knows, which company is behind the last loss or which carrier it was, which logistics service provider. And what is also quite important, the majority of our data is still coming from law enforcement agencies, and special thanks to them. I really would like to say, special thanks to all police officers and law enforcement agencies supporting us here. But of course, it's also a big question, to our manufacturer members and insurance companies and everything. If you share with us, as I showed right now with the new tool, we could create special reports for you, and when you're a member, hey, it's your benefit, use it.
Marcel, I'll come back to you. Now, 2 of TAPA's partner organisations have joined us this week, namely Europol and IUMI. Which other bodies or organisations does TAPA work with? And can members recommend others that they believe that the association should be working with?
There's a great number of, Thorsten already mentioned law enforcement agencies and, of course, Europol, but also Interpol. And it really doesn't matter. What you see is that in some product range or some business, they already have like a miniature TAPA, I would say, and they're welcome to join us and share all their knowledge that we might not be aware of, and vice versa. So it doesn't really matter. As soon as there's the common interest, like we all have to fight cargo crime, then they're welcome.
Thanks, Marcel. Thorsten, I'll come back to you. How is TAPA trying to grow its contacts with national law enforcement agencies? And maybe you could give us some examples that you have police relationships which are working well.
One of the initiatives, and I cannot share all the details right now, but it's really that we shared with them already our training program, and we really shared with some, what we do for the industry. And we offered them that what we do for the industry, we can also do for police officers. We also, for example, shared with them already, as I said, the TIS tool or the IAS tool. We create special reports. And for me, again, the best example is really countries like the Netherlands, like really also Germany and Denmark. We hope that we can win back France pretty soon, that they provide us data. We also receive some data from, the Nordics. It's quite funny when I mention that, I received a lot of emails already. I received a lot of stuff, I can support you, I can. So I will come back to all of you, okay? So, but next week we will start actions. For me, the most important thing is, that we need to create the awareness. And what we would like to do also next year is to have special campaigns with police forces. We also discussed already if we organize, for example, a special conference only for police, for law enforcement agencies, to really tell them what we do and invite them, to also receive a free training, for example, and so on and so on.
Marcel, the next question's for you, but I'm sure you might all have a view on it, so I'll probably come to you all. Marcel, I'll start with you, though. Mm-hmm. Now, feedback from members is so important. What especially are you looking for?
The feedback is, first of all, how are we doing? I mean, because you need to be rated somehow to see if your performance is good in any shape or form. But it can be a variety again. It's case studies, it's data, as Thorsten already mentioned, support, or actually, let's say, being physical present in working groups, etc., and allocate time to help us to get the common goal.
Steve, would you add something to that?
I was expecting you to go, okay.
No, I'd like to keep you on your toes.
Luckily, I did think it through. So I really go back to the days when TAPA was first formed. What was the frustrations at that time? You were having losses, you had police that were very localized in their view of how to deal with these things. You knew maybe some other people in another company having similar experiences. And it was just a general confusing, frustrating situation. And as TAPA, if you remember, companies got together and started discussing these things, the need for standards, the need for networking, the need for common approaches to police forces, all those ideas that you see discussed today came from those early meetings. But in addition to that, it gave the members a voice, where before complaining to your police force didn't necessarily get you anywhere, complaining to your management only got you more work because it rebounded on you. But being a member of TAPA and the value you get out of that is so, the training is great, the information you get, the new TIS tool is great. but being a TAPA member means something to you, and that's really what I see, and I just see that getting better. So you know, that's where I see we are now, and where we'll be going in the future.
Thank you, Steve. Did you want to add anything, Thorsten, or shall I move on to the next?
I think from my point of view, you know, first of all, you know, it's don't be shy to share with us information. You know, nothing is rocket science. You know, we know a lot of the things. You know, so everybody is under attack. You know, and we are a victim of crime. Share it with us. You know, and it's quite important you share it with TAPA as a non-profit, neutral industry association. So you're not sharing with your competitor, another company, whatever. Everything what you share with us is strictly confidential. As I told already, you know, we have an opt-in opportunity. If you say we can share it, we share it. And if you say even we can share it with your company details, we share it with your company details. If you say we cannot, then we don't do it. So everything is in our own house, in our own four walls, and we protect it even better than FSRA. You know, so everything is protected. And to come on Steve's ones, it's also quite important. You know, a TAPA membership means nothing. Okay, it's like become a member in a gym. You go there, you pay for the gym, and you go there 2 weeks, and you still pay 11 more months, but you never go there. So after 11 months you paid, you still don't lose weight, and you're not stronger. Be active. A proactive TAPA membership and an active TAPA membership, that's the difference. So the big message really is be active. You know, that's really for me the most important thing.
What else would you say is on the agenda as well in terms of digitalization projects?
Yeah, for us it's quite important, you know, that we really now look at the big picture. And, you know, why it's, for example, we had a database for TSR, we had a database for FSR, we had a database for PSR and everything. And Steve and the team, really, they did a tremendous job, you know, to create a master data, a master sheet and everything. And now I would like to say that we are already at phase 3 out of phase 6 or whatever, you know, but for me, it's quite important that we see the big picture, that we combine everything. And of course, digitalization for me always makes or means at the end of the day, make the life easier for the end consumer. It's not always the case. We all know that, you know, but this is our goal, you know, that the member at the end of the day will say, oh, wow, that's cool. I'm going to this one and I see everything. So that's our ultimate goal on this one.
Great, thank you. Did you want to add something to that, Steve, or I can stick with Thorsten?
Well, I can only emphasise what Thorsten said about the use of data is the next big thing. There's no doubt about that, and you know, Thorsten and I are quite vocal in our opinions with each other, but it normally comes to a good understanding. But yeah, absolutely. So I think the development of TIS it's the first of many things to come, and the support that data gets to other people being interested in our standards as well. So that grows the certification base as well. So there's definitely a benefit where you see this use of the data should in turn help promote our actual standards and the footprint of certifications. So yeah, looking good.
Good. Thorsten, we've had a couple more questions for you, and then I'll come back to you, Marcel. So Thorsten, we all know we need more secure truck parking. What's the level of demand overall, and what can members do to help raise the profile of TAPA's parking security requirements with the various parking locations that they're currently using?
I think it's so. I would like to say first we need more parking, you know, because a lot of our, you know, other systems are already working very well, you know. But from a secured parking point of view, we have great examples, you know. We have examples, for example, you know, like we work together with Snap, with Bosch and other partners like Samsung and so on, and even more. We are here to help you, and we are not here, you know, to, let's say, look for a business opportunity. So we just had 4 more certifications, and really to promote our standards, you know, we did it for 0 cost. So we sent our experts, we sent our people, you know, and we consulted them on a way to provide them into a certification level, but we charged them nothing because it's in our interest. We created a win-win situation, and I think that's really quite important.
And to follow on to that, you've also welcomed the EU's Safe and Secure Truck Parking Areas Standard. How is this going to work for companies, and how do they decide which standard to use, the TAPA standard or the EU standard? How does that work?
I would like to.
I'll bring you on Steve there.
Okay, thank you. I got the easy one. As I said in my presentation earlier, you know, we absolutely endorse what the EEC are doing with their secure truck parking area standard. At the same time, we recognize that that standard may not be suitable for everybody. Our own standard, the PSR, yeah, there are very similar requirements to the two standards, but as we said in earlier communications, there are differences in approach. So in the same way I gave messages about self-certification versus full certification, it's what suits you. And I think between the two standards, that there's an answer for any parking place operator today who has that question. I think ultimately the answer is lies within you to do your research. Contact TAPA. We're happy to be independent. You know, we're not trying to force you into one or the other. And there are other associations around. The EC have some resources as well to answer that question. We just want to see it grow. And so we will continue to develop our standard, obviously, as the TAPA brand, etc. But everything we do is in the best interests of the industry and our membership.
Thank you, Steve. We've got time just for two quick more answers. Marcel, I'll come to you first with your final question. We've had great feedback on this virtual conference, and I know that TAPA EMEA will be having another one in 2022, another virtual conference. But it's also important to meet face to face, isn't it?
Quite frankly, yes, it is. I was kind of skeptic with the whole virtual thing, and saying, hey, we need to pat each other on the back and have a drink, but the networking is so important. I think this is a great vehicle to show what we have and what we can share, but there's nothing more than personal contact like we do in normal life. Just pick up the phone, call someone. But now in those conferences, we actually can tell, hey, how are you doing? What have you experienced? Can I learn from that? All the way to having fun with each other, especially our charity raffles is something I miss because that's hilarious. So
I've been hearing a lot about those over this week. But of course, there will be now this sort of hybrid way. You can have some virtual, some face-to-face. Is that almost a better solution?
I think it's best of both worlds. You can, certain things you can maybe bring much more across. I already made a joke that Steve looks much better in close-up than he would be on stage. But that's no, all kidding aside. It is more focusing. Although what I really miss is the interaction from people in the audience. So that's we'll get there.
And it's not the same, but of course people can still network through the conference app as another option. Thorsten, I'll leave you with the final word before we wrap up for today. I think you wanted to thank TAPA EMEA's Premier Partners, didn't you, for supporting this event? And looking ahead to 2022, will there be a Premier Partner program in 2022 as well?
Yeah, first of all, as you said, and you see them all there, I would like to say a special thanks to all Premier Partners. It was an amazing ride with you in 2021. And again, let me say thanks to all of you. I appreciate your trust. I hope we fulfilled all your expectations, and of course there will be a program in 2022 because we were super successful. It's not only that, you will see a lot of communication after the conference. As already said, you will see job postings on TAPA. You will see the brand new information on the sponsor opportunities for 2022. And it's not only the Premier Partner Program, it's also exhibition opportunities for the face-to-face conference, and so on and so on. And as said by Marcel, we need to clap on our shoulders. One of the things what we plan for the conference is a big beach party. So we would like to do a summer party. We would like to come back together, and thanks to all these companies you see there. And if you're interested in for 2022, some are already done. So we already have Premier Partners for 2022. So be fast.
Well, on that note, it all sounds very exciting. Lots to look forward to. Thank you, all three of you, for joining us again for this final question and answer session.